Hi and welcome back. I thought I'd give you a quick update today of some of the things that I've been working on. Just finishing things, mainly to do with the dining room makeover. This first chair was a single chair that was left over from when I did my last recovering for my French country look. These two chairs were, one's the completed chair, the other one is one of a set that I did in the brown velvet. This is the armchair that I wanted to add to the head of the table. I didn't have any brown velvet left, so I had to coordinate accordingly. First, this is the dining chair. This chair I've had for quite a while. I think it was $5. I unscrewed it from the seat from the chair and then placed it on the material so that the pattern was centre to the seat when you sit on it. Obviously you can see I had about 2 inches around all the way around, and then just stapled it, as you would recover any chair, one on each side until it's stretched out and then filled in. I can put a video of that in if you want, but I figured most of you have either done this before or have seen it. So this was the finished product. So I had one chair like that, and then I had two matching with the brown velvet. These were the material choices that I had. I needed 3 different for the type of armchair that it was. You'll see in a moment in the next picture. So I chose the 3. I had to replace all the material. As we said, I was going to go with more other material, but this is the one. It coordinated with the room better and the existing chairs, so at least it looks like it's an intentional set now. So I had the green velvet for the back panel, which matches beautifully with the existing curtains and the wallpaper, and then obviously the brocade was for the seat, and then the panel at the back I added in this palm tree, which again they picked up the same colours, and it did look really nice when it's finished. I just literally left all the material underneath and then just glued it where I could. Obviously for the seat I had to staple, but I might put buttons in where these creases are, where the tufts are, but the way I did it was I just literally glued the spot, as you can see, and then pressed it in with my thumb, so it gave that puckered effect, and I think it turned out quite nice. There's only the one that didn't really turn out well, but you'll see at the end, you won't really notice. It's turned out really quite well, like I said. With the base, again, the seat cushion, I did the same as I did with the single chair. I centered the pattern so that it was central when you look down on the seat. I literally I stapled it to the front and then pulled it through the back and made adjacent cuts where the arms and the braces came up. It's quite straightforward, and it was just a matter of then pulling it tight, making sure it was there was no puckers or pulls anywhere, and literally just stapling as I went. As you can see, I pulled the material through the space where the seat cover doesn't quite go to the bottom of the arms, and again stapled, making sure that it was even as I stapled all the way through. I literally stapled the living daylights out of it. I wanted it to be nice and tight so that the seat doesn't pucker at all, and followed it all the way around the base of the chair. It doesn't matter if it's a mess because I have a really nice trim that's going all the way around, so you won't see where the staples are, you won't see where the material hasn't quite reached, or if the joins aren't right, because it's going to be cover a multitude of sins. Once the material was all in place, I did cut the excess away. I'm going to put a panel on of another material at a later point, and then I just glue gunned the trim to the seat, and I think I was really pleased with the finishing results. As you can see, I didn't have any green or brown trim, but I think the gold is a really nice contrast and it just ties it all together. So again, really quite pleased with how it turned out. Not the first choice of material, but pleased with the look. As I said, I've had this chair for quite a while and it was in a bit of a state, so I did slightly rub down the worst scuff marks down to the original wood, and don't mind it. Don't mind it at all, the way when the wood comes through. It certainly does match with the rest of the room. The table is dark wood, and again it does look intentional now because it matches the brown velvet of the curtains and two of the chairs, and then the brocade is the same as the chair at the other end of the table. So and then it all matches in with the wallpaper and the William Morris curtains, which was the catalyst for the whole room makeover. So this room is nearly finished now. If you can see on the floor, I have a rug that we put down in the wintertime for the dogs. That's my son's dog, he's been staying with us. So I have a rug partially covering the floor because we have two different floors from when it was an office and a mudroom, and then I can't find the flooring to match, so we're having to wait until we can match the floor. I've had actually a request to show the making of the valance. If you can believe it, it's made of cardboard. I measured the length of the window and stuck cardboard boxes together, the height that I wanted, the drop, and then I left the fold, the box fold at the top, if you know what I mean. That's going to be how I attach it to the ceiling. So I reinforced it in several places, as you can see here, with the extra, I glued on extra pieces where the folds in the box would be, so that gives it more stability, and it's now a more cohesive piece. I did connect it, and that's how it's going to be attached to the ceiling, where the fold is. The first thing I did was turn it over onto, so the wrong side was up and the right side was on the table, and I got my batting and I attached it so that it was completely covering the front side and then turned onto the back side, so that we had a nice soft corner for when the material goes over the batting. Once that was done, I then added the material on top, so I left the batting a little bit shorter so that once the material came over, it covered the batting and it was all a nice soft clean finish. I did have to make a join in the middle of the material because the panels weren't wide enough for me to do it in one piece, and I wanted the pattern to go the right way. I could have done it if I'd have put the pattern across, which would have defeated the object. It just wouldn't have gone. So there was a slight join in the middle, which I added another panel at the end. Now somehow I managed to lose the video. I think I erased it, of me attaching it to the ceiling. So what I did was I attached a batten to the fold right there. So the red is the baton, and then I screwed it up into the ceiling on the fold. If you can understand, I hope you can understand what I mean. So underneath the material on the inside is the black piece is the baton that was screwed directly to the ceiling. There's also a panel in the middle that I made exactly the same way and just glued it to cover the join, and then trimmed it in the brown velvet. These are a couple of finishing touches and things that I've added. These little plates were thrifted a little while ago. They didn't really go with anything, so I decided to decoupage them. What I did was I painted them white first of all, so that the serviettes are quite thin, and when you paint, if there's a pattern underneath, it bleeds through. So I paint the little plates white, choose the piece that I want to be my picture on the plate, and then I almost trace it with my finger so I know where the picture's going to sit on the plate. I then take the decoupage and give it a really good coating, and then I put the picture on top of it and stick it down and start to decoupage the top of it so that it sticks in place as I'm going. I take it over the edges as well to make sure that its decoupage goes completely, covers the front and goes a little bit underneath at the sides so that it looks as though it's more cohesive. So this is it with the decoupage on, and I give it a really good coat. As you can see, it's slightly bigger than the size of the plate, and once the decoupage is on, it then sticks underneath over the rim, and then it takes about, I would say, half an hour to have a really good dry. You can either trim it then, or you can, like I did, I folded it underneath, and I think it's a nicer finish. These plates I want to say I had probably 6 or 8 altogether. Some of the pictures on them I really liked, the others I didn't. So what I did was, with these napkins, I sent for them off Amazon, the chinoiserie napkins, and each one had a different aspect of the napkin. So some of them matched and some of them just coordinated. As you can see, they were little Dutch prints originally. I had both square and round plates, so I did exactly the same with the round plates, and you can tell me what you think. I think they look great. I've had some questions about these pictures. This is a picture frame that I had before I took a picture out of it and put this piece of the William Morris wallpaper. I couldn't do the paper justice on the space that I had, but I wanted it, obviously I wanted it to match in with the curtains, so I took the largest repeat of the pattern and put it in the picture frame so that they could get the full value of how beautiful the wallpaper is. I did a similar thing with this picture frame. This was one that I'd picked up for another project and decided to put the remaining fabric from the curtains in, and I just literally took the back off, taped down the pieces of material into the spots, and that's what I came up with, and I think it looks really nice, and again it ties it into that part of the room. This big brown unit, it was an old banker's unit. We've had it for about 10 years. We're actually going to be getting rid of that. It's much too large for this area, so we decided to replace it with the same white unit that we have in the kitchen, because I have so much beautiful transferware now that I can't fit it into one cabinet. So I'm not going anymore. I'm not going to buy any more. I'm just going to transfer it to another cabinet so it can all be displayed properly. Thanks so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this little update. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't, and I'll see you next time.